What is up, guys? Welcome to another one of my personal videos. I did say I was gonna post about my macro outlook on Bitcoin after my last video to give you a better view on what's happening overall with Bitcoin. And whatever I'm going to be talking about is purely technical, is the year of experience spent on the charts, and nothing is guaranteed. Trade at your own risk, but this is what I'm looking out for. So if you followed my video last posted throughout this week, I believe it was 2 or 3 days ago. I mean, it was around Wednesday, so today's Saturday, so 3, 4 days ago, correct. And if you were able to get into the trade, I'm personally running at break even with some partial being secured at the daily low. And it is my first time ever to actually hold a trade that long. I want to see how that plays out. I'm not worried about the overall bias. I know where price is heading. The only concern for me is to get involved along the way, to keep on shorting this pair. We're taking partials and essentially work on my trade and risk management. It is a break even. I might post on Instagram my position that's currently running. Partials were taken, I think, just around here yesterday, and currently price is retracing. But we are not here to talk about the trade that again was shared back on Wednesday. Go back and watch that video if you haven't done already. But the fact that we are bearish up until this area of value to then start looking for the price to shift bullish. Technical is very beautiful, so follow along to make sure you don't get lost along the way. So from a macro standpoint, I was personally looking at the quarterly time frame. You can see how price stopped every pretty much after breaking the previous all-time high, it rallies around 40,000 above all the previous all-time high. So we had an all-time high at around 20k. Up on the break, it had no issue getting into 60. And up on the pullback, it got back into the all-time high. And then again, what did it do? Another 40k to the upside, getting into 100,000. However, a bit of discretion has to be applied. You can perhaps argue that the all-time high was just around 120,000. And in fact, I did take that into consideration to then, if price does provide us a pushback from that level, which we're going to discuss in a minute, 40,000 above 100k is 140, and 40k above 120 will be 160. So we got 20,000 worth of area to work with. So you don't want to be too aggressive. Maybe you target just 140, maybe just slightly in between before maybe reassessing overall. We are not here trying to predict 10 years worth of price action, but let's just focus on what's happening at the moment. So price is providing a pullback, and paying attention to the time and price theory, price had a macro turnaround at the start of every year. Sorry, not every year, but whenever it wanted to go back up, it happened to be in January. January of 2019 is when price rallied up into 60k. Back in 2023, that's when price rallied all the way into 120k. And we are currently sitting at 2025. Mid-year price is providing a retracement, which means that if we have to see higher prices coming in back again, it should happen at around January. So we still have a couple of months to go before worrying about any long position. Therefore, do watch out for next year. Do not just keep on looking for shorts, or don't just get involved in longs either. Know what we're looking for, and upon getting into the last quarter of the year, around October, November, December, this is when I personally be staying away or at least monitor price action to see if we are getting a possible turnaround. And that's why most people fuck up, right? If you know we're gonna have a time in price where it's gonna provide a pullback, a major retracement, a major reversal to be taking place, people will try and force trades that are not there yet. That's what perhaps happened with us. I mean, it's all relevant to whether you traded it or not when we were looking for price to drop, by at the end of the day price ultimately took out the high into the level, and now we are fucking ready to drop at the start of what? April, the start of quarter 2 of the year. So I'll personally be staying away, and that's why approach trading in a way that most benefits you. If you are short term to swing trader, then looking at 3 to 4 pairs is gonna benefit you, because if one pair is not providing you with anything, then you got another 2 or 3 to look at, right? Compared to somebody that's doing intraday trading, scalping every single day, every hour of the day, looking for 2 pairs for him is more than enough. And if he tries to do anything over that, looking at 3, 4, 5 pairs as a intermediate, as a new beginner to intermediate level, he's gonna fuck most of the time because his mind is all over the place. And that's how I personally find that looking at 4 pairs, Bitcoin, gold, sterling, and US30 helps the most, even though I've just been showing US30 and Bitcoin, which I believe in providing value over quantity. Anyway, back to our expectations. So we talked about how this area of value, so we're looking at around 45,000 into 25,000, rounded up, around that region before looking for the price to go back up. If we do drop into the weekly time frame, was it back here? Yep. So you can see how the weekly perfectly aligns with our area of value. So if you copy and paste the last 2 expansion phases to the downside, so you got one, copy and paste, we got this move here. You copy and paste that again, which gives you the next push to the downside, which comes around 40,000, which is my personal target objective before seeing price to really start giving you any reason to start looking for longs in the first place. But what you do want to pay attention to is upon the mitigation of this zone, that should be your first sign to even stay away from Bitcoin in the first place. I mean, it's different for people that are doing intraday. I'm not here to talk about those. Take away from this video whatever information helps you to implement in your trading. You do not have to force anything. The way I personally trade the market is the way I'm personally sharing, nothing more, nothing less. It's up to you how you want to utilize this information. I've been talking about how I was looking for shorts all the way back around here, and it took time for it to play out. But when it does, we're gonna have a massive momentum to the downside, just as we had back for the last couple of quarters, right? Back in October 2017, massive drop to the downside of, well, it's all relevant to you whether you want to consider this push from that high or all the way down here, but we're talking about around 30 to 40,000 pips drop, followed up with another pretty much last quarter of around another 30,000 pips, and we're doing nothing but looking for another drop to the downside of pretty much the same area. Of course, you do want to take partials along the way if you are in a swing, in a position trade, not from a longer time perspective. But I am expecting for the price to get down there up until, so we are in April, May, June, in June, July, to then provide perhaps another time in price where it kind of consolidates, creating perhaps equal lows. So that's not accurate, but equal lows to take out that liquidity before seeing a massive rally to the upside, targeting all-time highs and beyond, as we discussed earlier on, with a target projection of 140 to 160,000. Of course, we're gonna reassess Bitcoin upon the mitigation of our area of value. But at least from my own personal experience, view of the market, I am short all the way down into 47,000 at least. And relative to how price unfolds, how clean structure is, I will keep looking for shorts into 40,000 perhaps. I mean, a 7,000 is nothing for Bitcoin, so maybe you want to stay away, it's up to you. But I hope that gave you a clear picture of what is it that we're looking for and why I mentioned that a drop into this is where from a macro perspective, a bullish turnaround might take place. And if you got any question, feel free to DM me. But that's it for the video, guys. I'll see you in the next one.